People always tell you to trust your partner, but what happens when that trust becomes the very weapon they use to destroy you? My name is Claire, and I married a man who pretended to go to work every single day, only so he could cheat on me while I thought he was providing for us. When I met Daniel, I thought I had won the lottery. We met through mutual friends at a weekend barbecue. He was well dressed, spoke confidently, and had this way of making everyone around him feel seen. He told me he was a project manager for a tech company downtown. The way he talked about his workload and deadlines made him sound important, ambitious. Our romance was quick but intense. He'd surprise me with flowers after work, take me to restaurants I'd never been to, and text me all day as if I was the most important part of his life. Within a year, we were engaged. By the next summer, we were married. And for the first year of our marriage, everything seemed perfect. Daniel had a routine: wake up at 7, shave, put on a crisp shirt, tie his tie perfectly, grab his leather briefcase, and pour himself coffee in a travel mug. He'd kiss me goodbye at exactly 8:15 every morning and say, "Don't wait up for me, babe. Big day at the office." I worked part-time as a freelance graphic designer, so I often stayed home. I felt proud, watching my husband head off to work, proud that we were building a future together. But as time went on, little cracks began to show. The first red flags. He never brought home paperwork, never talked about specific projects, and never mentioned his co-workers by name. When I'd ask about his day, he'd give vague answers like, just meetings and emails. Then I started noticing something stranger. He'd sometimes come home in the middle of the day, claiming he forgot something. And some nights, he'd smell faintly of a perfume I didn't own. I brushed it off at first. Told myself I was just being paranoid. After all, Daniel was charming, attentive, and never gave me an obvious reason to doubt him. Until one Tuesday morning. The day everything changed. It was a normal day. He got ready for work, kissed me goodbye, and left. But 20 minutes later, I noticed his wallet sitting on the kitchen counter. I texted him. No response. I called him, straight to voicemail. I thought I'd do something nice, surprise him by bringing it to his office. So I got dressed, grabbed the wallet, and drove to the address he had told me on our very first date. The building was in the heart of downtown. I had never been there before, but I recognized the street from when he'd talk about rush hour traffic. When I arrived, my stomach dropped. The building was empty. Not under construction, not newly renovated, empty. The kind of empty where the windows are dusty, and there's a faded for lease sign hanging in the front. The truth unfolds. I stood there on the sidewalk, wallet in hand, heart racing. I double-checked the address, triple-checked. No mistake. I drove home in silence, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tight they ached. When Daniel came home later that afternoon, whistling as if it were any other day, I felt my blood boil. "So, how was work today?" I asked casually. "Oh, busy, like always," he said, loosening his tie. I placed his wallet on the table. "You mean at the office that's been empty for months?" The color drained from his face. He opened his mouth to speak, but nothing came out. Finally, he stammered, "I can explain," but the explanation was worse than anything I could have imagined. He hadn't had a job for over a year. The company he actually worked for had downsized, and, instead of telling me, he pretended to still be employed. But instead of spending his days job hunting, he spent them at another woman's apartment. He admitted it like it was nothing, said he didn't want to worry me and needed a place to escape the stress. Escape? From me? I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just looked at the man I had vowed to love for the rest of my life and realized I didn't even know him. That night, I told him to pack his things. By morning, he was gone. 2 months later, the divorce papers were signed. It's been a year since that day. I'm not going to lie. At first, I was broken, but I've rebuilt myself. I've learned that trust isn't just about believing someone, it's about them earning that belief every single day. And Daniel? Last I heard, he's still lying his way through life. But me, I'll never ignore my instincts again, because sometimes the job they're working hardest at is keeping their lies alive.